Welcome to Truth and Transcendence. You can find all our other episodes on truthandtranscendence.com and in all the usual places. So today I'm delighted to welcome Kanika Vasudeva, whose name I was trying not to mispronounce there, who's here to talk about something really interesting that came up in the pre-call, which was about longingness to be the real me. And I don't know about you, but that's been a theme for me in my life, and I think has for an awful lot of people I talk to. And this blends in beautifully with what Kanika actually offers to her clients. What she does is she helps conscious coaches achieve high income in less than 6 months, which is quick, especially if you're starting a business. Her work blends energy work and strategic clarity so that clients can grow profitable businesses without overworking and without pushy sales. And of course, a lot of her work now is with people who are growing their business further and scaling up from there. So you can find Kanika at artoflifecenter.com, and center is CENTER. And Kanika, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for having me here. I look forward to it.
Excellent. So we were talking about this longingness to be the real me, which was your expression, wasn't it? If we kind of go back, if you cast your mind back, can you remember the first time you felt this longingness to be the real you in your body and in your spirit?
Yeah, for sure. I'll go back to the time when I was in my mid-30s, and on this outside, I looked good. You know, if you saw my Facebook profile, if you looked on LinkedIn, as I suppose with a lot of people that you would see on social media, it looked really good on the outside. And life was good. I was having holidays. I was seemingly happily married. I had a young kid. Everything seemed to be going really well. I wasn't happy. And I did not even know how to put a finger on it because I reached out to all my friends and I generally asked them, like, what is going on with your life? And there seemed to be this common understanding that you grow older and you get more disconnected with life. I suppose at that point in time, I was also interacting more with people who were on that same vibration as I was. I knew my life had to change. To give you a picture, I've been an engineer, an MBA. I've been a highly ambitious person, worked with lots of business companies on their most important projects. So, very ambitious, very driven, very successful on the outside. And I've always done the so called things that are supposed to be successful in society. I'd come to my mid-30s and then realize that all that success did not actually mean I was happy, because I would wake up and I just had no meaning in life. And still, life just had a pull on me because of how it was going. And my son was there. So, this is what you do, like automatic every day on repeat. Even if you don't find meaning, this is how you just continue to live on and somehow try and find joy in there. What changed the story for me was I was pregnant at the time. And one day I woke up, I had lost my daughter. I lost her when she was 31 weeks old. I had to give birth to a stillborn. That's a shocking, surreal process because earlier, before that, I could run away from the pain. I could be in denial. I could get busy. I could distract myself. There were so many ways of escaping it. This wasn't something I could escape. And the paradox of the situation then was that I was grieving the loss of one child. I had another son. He was 2 years old at the time. And a 2-year-old child, they're a pocket full of energy. They're running around all the time, but they are just so much in love with life. So my contrast every single day and every single moment was how much I did not like life. And I was caring, watching someone who was just so infused with life. Like water was exciting, crinkled paper was exciting, everything was exciting. So I'd look at him and wonder what happened, because I would have been at that situation. And how come from there I came here where I just didn't want to live anymore? So that's how I started on my own journey of introspection. And what I figured out was that in my whole chase of the outside goals and people pleasing, I had actually invalidated myself. Happiness does not happen with money or with titles or anything else unless you're internally are fulfilling your soul, your purpose. Happiness doesn't happen. So now the metrics shifted for success. Now the metric is more, how do I create meaning? How do I live in a way that gives me more presence, more connection, rather than just ticking a box?
Yeah. Wow, what an intense experience that must have all been for you at that time. I mean, at 31 weeks, that's probably almost the worst it could be, isn't it? Because you're almost there, and then suddenly, and then your body is still big, I imagine, for a
Yeah,
little while after that as well, and so you can't just ignore it. It's
everything happens. We had the nursery prepared. I had to give away the bassinet and everything because we were preparing for her arrival. I was big, as you say. And even the body, once you deliver the baby, it remembers, like the body is doing its job. So the milk comes out as well. Then I had to put on medications to stop the milk from coming. So it's just a very different experience. But I think the contrast, the pain, and the physicalness, I needed that to be able to grieve and to be able to move through how much I needed to shift inside myself. Because as I worked through it, then I could see, well, none of this, what I'd wanted, was real. Why was I not happy? Because none of that was what I wanted. And today, for me, that's the joy. Like when I help someone, when I help a business owner actually have a profitable business, like they get their first client or they're selling more, that's the real win for me. Yes, money happens for me as a side product. And that's what I always tell all my clients. The more passionate you are about business, the more you drive towards it for the meaning, the service, the impact that you're going to bring, money will happen as a side product. Think of, the famous celebrities, think of anybody who's been really successful. They haven't always chased the money. Money is the side thing. It comes as a byproduct of you living in your alignment.
I think we can all understand that idea. But it's one thing understanding it, and it's another thing actually believing it. Or, so where you are now, you've gone through a transformation in your life. So you know that for yourself because you're out the other side of living that, but for someone else who's listening or watching and thinking, yeah, but I just need to cover the costs, or I've just taken on this big loan to launch my business, or I've just employed more people to do more marketing because I think we need to do that. And where's the money? I
Yeah,
mean, how does
yeah.
somebody shift from that place of survival and need into that place that you've just described?
Excellent question. So let me just take a minute and talk to you about money, just the frequency of money. How did money actually come into existence? Once upon a time, there must have been people who decided, well, you're giving me a service or a product, whether that was wheat, whether that was grains, horses, whatever. They said, well, it's going to be exchanged and we're going to call this money. And it was a frequency of exchange. It is a frequency of exchange. So money by itself is just a frequency of exchange. Now, when we want to grow, and we'll all raise our hands and we'll say, yes, we want to grow. We want to grow in our business. Absolutely. When we grow outside our zone of comfort. That is growth. Because if you were comfortable, you are in the same spot. Growth is uncomfortable. So when you're spending money and what we see as the trigger with money that, oh, I'm feeling the lack. I've got to pay this money. I've got to do this mortgage. Yes. But to grow, you're going to be outside your comfort zone. Rather than seeing that as money, see that that's your frequency of change. How ready are you for your next level? I've worked with so many clients over and over again. Money shifts when you shift your own internal frequency. When you feel ready for it, then you call in that bigger shift. And money exchange is literally that exchange to help you get to that next level.
So do you
So
mean
in the big,
so are you saying then that if somebody is in that place where more money seems to be going out than, and they're scared and how they're going to balance that they should change their perception of what that money going out actually means?
yes, yes, and more to it. So when I'm working with coaches or business owners who are just starting out, a whole lot of work that I do with them is just a whole identity shift, because we are all impacted by imprints of us. If I was to give an example, think of your phone, and maybe let's say iPhone today, but let's say if you had to go back and you had to really work with an older version of iPhone, it just wouldn't have the same camera, it just wouldn't have the same things. What happens is, as human beings, we are souls incarnate in bodies. As human beings, we've taken a body on and we've come here. Our soul itself is infinite. It's come into a body. The body has an imprint. We chose it for whatever reason, but that body has some inherent limits. And that's the difference between having your new iPhone and your old phone. So there are imprints that we are working with. Once we start clearing off those, so let's say you've upgraded from the older iPhone to the newer iPhone, things start operating differently. What do I mean by these imprints practically? I might have heard things such as, oh, money is so hard to make. And that is my imprint. Like, that's the belief that is made in me. It's a program that runs inside. So till the time I have rewired that, there is still this pattern that I'm operating out of, which says, oh, money is so hard to earn, so I have to work like that. And this is why we have to change our story with money. And typically for business owners, it's not just money, it's also your stories with money, your stories with clients as well. How many clients do you want to have? Do you feel like you can trust people? Do you feel like you cannot trust people? Do you feel like people come out and attack you? All those things, you need to clear out all of those. Feel okay with that. Feel okay showing up. Feel okay being seen at a much bigger level. And that's where the money shift starts happening. Because money, remember, is the frequency of growth, is how much growth have you allowed, really.
Yes, that's interesting as well. So that's a very different way of looking at it from saying, what can I trade for money? Because that's another way. You can say, right, I can get money by trading. What can I sell? How can I sell my time? But if instead you're saying that the money coming in is an expression of me having grown, that's a completely different perspective, isn't it? And I can see
Exactly.
is this how it links back to the longingness to be the real me aspect? That thing of, are you kind of hinting at people being the real them, and that feeds into this?
Yes. So business growth is always a consequence of your own inner growth. And we were just talking a few minutes ago, truth or our inner calling. Look, if anyone has an inner calling, that calling exists for a purpose. That is your real reason. Think about yourself. Just try to think as a soul. Now, when you wanted to be born, for whatever reason, you found life on earth to be a lot of fun. It might sound like, why? Why did I think that? But, for some reason, it was very appealing. That is why you chose to incarnate here. And this was before you became somebody's sister, brother, daughter, all of the other relations. So, your biggest karma, your biggest person to look for is you yourself. You owe it to yourself because this is why you came. And if you have a purpose that you needed to do on earth, if you actually don't do it, you will need to continue continue coming to earth till the time you can actually fulfill that purpose. So in and of itself, just living your purpose is, of course, the greatest act of self-love, but that sows the seeds also of helping your own inner growth and then helping your business growth. But what does that mean? Like, what is it that I want to do? It's literally whatever makes you happy. Happy with meaning. Happy not with, well, I am happy because I got this big car, I got this big house. No, not that happy, because that is surface level happy. That is happy because society or somebody defined that for you a certain way. And I'm definitely not also saying that, oh, don't value material pleasures. But what is it underneath? If you enjoy the big car, why do you enjoy it? If you enjoy the big house, why do you enjoy it? What is that meaning? And that is your drive. That is what you came to do here. So just hone on that more and more. Like, what is your real drive? For me, for example, I know my real drive is like really seeing people transform. If I have changed their life positively and I can see that now they have better clients and life shifted for them fundamentally, like that's my biggest win. And I could do that on my deathbed. I kid you not. If somebody came up that time and said, hey, can you advise me about my business? What should I do? And I will get up and do it then. That's your purpose. The purpose that really sparks that joy in you and doesn't have to be super flashy or big to begin with. It just has to be something that it will light up your eyes when you speak about it.
Beautiful. So you have, in quite an astonishing way, bounced back from the loss of your daughter. I mean, a lot of people would have been crushed by that and would have decided that, life is bad. But you went the other way. You went, this means I need to grow, which is an extraordinary shit. I'm not suggesting you did it overnight, but
Yeah.
that's an extraordinary thing that you were able to do that. And you now actually explored that and now come and help other people to do the same thing.
Yeah, it was trial by fire. I wouldn't say it was courage at all. I knew that what I was doing. But here's the real story underneath it. So I lost my daughter. I was totally lost. I had no idea how to carry on. And this was really a time when I did not want to live on. But I had my son. He was 2 years old and I could not leave him. And it was a total place of surrender. So I would just, in my thoughts all the time with the universe, say, well, you've given me this. You've got to give me a way to move forward. Like, how do I move forward with this? And I would tell them that I really want to connect with my daughter because I truly want to understand what happened. And as a mom, I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I wanted to know if she was okay. I just wanted to connect with her and feel her. I never got to see her alive. So, and that's how the universe helped me. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I was also looking for teachers, but I found my first teacher, and he was the one who helped me connect to my daughter myself. So I did a meditation practice where I grounded myself and then I spoke with my daughter. And that was beautiful because I said, hey, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry I messed up. And she said, no, you did nothing wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, no, you did nothing wrong because this was always part of the plan. I was never meant to be born. So before she came on earth, before I came on earth, I had a pact with her that if I was wasting this lifetime, that she would just come and try and wake me up. And so she tried to do that. And this was her final thing. Like, you're not listening. You're wasting this lifetime. That conversation with her was just such a big gift blessing. So it opened the door to so many more things because I continue to be in touch with her. There's a whole practice that I have around energy healing. This is also how I help people with their identity shifts. So my daughter was also an oracle reader from previous lifetimes. I was her progeny. So as I've continued doing this practice, I've connected more with her and, let's say, more understanding of perhaps how small I am and how bigger the whole entire universe is. as human beings, we can see, we feel that we've got things in control. And yet the earth moves all the time without us. And we we are very interesting people. But that whole picture started clicking for me, that I'm here for a bigger purpose. There is an expression right now in this body that I hold as Kanika, where you and I are talking, but I'm bigger beyond that. You're bigger beyond that. And that's what I continue to see for myself and for the people around me. And when I can bring that, operate from that awareness, then I can see that we've all come here for a bigger purpose. We all want evolution in some form. And then the challenge just becomes, okay, let's figure out what that is. And our soul always gives us the answers anyway. So then let's find out what is the easiest way to do that and just go ahead and implement it.
Yeah. Amazing. Beautiful. And what kind of energy healing work do you do with people?
I guide them through a visualization. So they're able to just connect and see what's going on. In the body, we could think of lots of things, and we take them personally, me included. I've done that. There might have been things that happened in our childhood, and we think, well, this is how it is. For example, and sometimes it can be trauma. Sometimes it might not be trauma. Like there might be just simple things that have been told across our family, such as money is very hard to earn. Oh, you can never do this. You can never be successful at business. Somebody could have said that. And that sort of runs as a program inside you. You don't even know, it's unconscious, and you continue to operate off that. So you make your reality so it brings the same things out for you. We might have ancestral conditions that run through us. There's actually a scientific study which shows that we can carry the imprints from at least 4 of our previous generations. And I would say it's even more beyond that. And then we all have our past lives where we've lived certain things and we carry those imprints. So when I'm guiding my clients, I help them work through these situations. They're sitting in a visualized, in a meditation, and they see those things, and then we clean and heal those. For healing, I'm connecting mainly with the celestial bodies, such as the earth, the sun, the source, the void, and archangels, whoever wants to come at that time and help with the healing.
Beautiful. That sounds very powerful, even in and of itself, just on its own. Even if somebody
Exactly.
wasn't trying to grow a business, I imagine that has a positive effect on their whole life.
Yeah, and that is actually how my business coaching started, because when I started as a coach, I started as an energy coach. So it's a legacy handle that I still keep, but I will still keep it because I'm the energy coach at heart. And I kept doing it, and people started feeling that shift, that transformation. And then they were like, well, now I want to grow and expand more. So what can I do? So that's how business coaching came in. It's just easier because it's more easier for people to see the result there and to be able to guide them that this is what you do so that you have your business growth.
Amazing. I love what you're doing. I think it's fantastic. So, when you work with people, could you share with me a little bit about what can someone expect when they come and work with you? What's the path going to look like for them, and what might it feel like for them? Because again, as I said before, it's one thing to sit talking about these things now, and while I'm talking to you, I'm not in the middle of one of my difficult growthy transition things, which are, I'm relaxed, I'm cool right now. I'm having a conversation with Kanika, it's all good. It's not particularly challenging. But if someone's working with you, I imagine they might have to go through some quite challenging experiences, possibly. So what's the story of what it might be like for somebody as they start to work with you and as that progresses?
Yeah, beautiful. So when people want to start their business, because that's the most like common sort of clients that I have now, are the biggest ones, um, they will come in. We'll have a first session. We'll actually sit down, figure out what is your offer, what's your core offering that we should bring, and I can. employ different modalities here. Sometimes they'll have a clear idea, but I'm also doing my reading. So I'm telling them what their soul really wants because it's easier to do it that way. Um, Imagine that you are on a highway and then highway has a certain flow. There is a universal, there is a soul plan, there's a soul purpose for us. If we just followed on that highway, it's a lot easier. Sometimes we're just trying to manifest something that is like not on that highway. It just gets hard because you're going against traffic. So first we build that blueprint, and then off that blueprint, then they've got series of like I've literally broken down step by step what they can do. So they follow that. But we have weekly catch-ups where we'll walk through everything that is practical for them, and we help them through literally everything that could be their online posting, their content. It can anything and everything is there. But typically, what happens is, and the modules have been framed in such a way that when people come in, there is a lot of inner work to do because your outer expression, your business visibility, whatever you're putting outside, it's a function of your internal growth. And so we're making space for that first. So in the first 4 weeks, I'm not expecting them to go out and put anything. It is a business coaching thing, but I am still just saying, okay, be here and we're just working on you, your new identity. Because when you calibrate to that identity, then you're ready for that space to happen. Like, think about it. Let's say your capacity in the beginning is just the size of a little water glass, right? Then you can only just hold so much water, so much visibility, so much clients coming in, so much money, because that's the capacity that you have. Then we increase the capacity and we make it the size of a bathtub. And suddenly you can hold a lot more. So we work through that identity shift first, and then we start working through the strategy elements. And what people usually find is it takes them on a nice journey. Like they'll say, oh, I was not ready to charge this price. I couldn't understand this price, even charging price, is a function of your own worth. How much do you think you're worth? It is the frequency of exchange, both ways. So initially, my clients will have, like, I've worked with clients who've had trouble selling $111 offer because people said that was too expensive. And this is when they were giving even way more. Like, it was a full membership with so many things underneath there. Like, it would be a no-brainer if somebody understood the value, and they could still not sell that. And then they've increased their capacity and hence their attractiveness so much that they've just gone out, had a haircut, and they've got a client who signed for $5,000. And that is because they've increased their capacity, they've increased their self-worth, they've also increased the transformation now that they can provide to someone else. Because when I grow as a business owner, when you work with me, it is also how much transformation I can bring for you.
Yeah.
That's what that money is about.
Yes. So you and your clients are actually helping each other with your respective missions in this life. And they are then helping their clients with their missions, who are also helping them with their missions. So that sounds extremely reciprocal to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is why I love this. This is why it's so drawn to me. You know, it's funny you say that. My name is Kanika. It's an Indian name. And I never liked it growing up. Kanika comes from Kanak. Kanak is, well, it's a grain of wheat. But it's also, when I asked my mom to explain it, she said, well, it's a small part of something big. And I did not like it growing up as a child. I said, what do you mean, small part? Like, who wants to be small? But now I understand I'm the small ripple that creates the big ripples. Now I love my name.
Fantastic. That's so great. It sounds really, really good what you're doing. And of course, a lot of the people you're working with are also helping other people, aren't they? And trying to assist other people with their own growth or their own success. Something I've noticed with this show, there seem to be, in terms of people listening to it, it seems to attract people who want to be helpful, you know, people who are being helpful or who are maybe leaders or teachers, parents, etc. And so some of the people listening to us now are in that same mode of service. Is there some, would you like to take a moment? Do you have something you would like to say, some message you'd like to give to those sorts of people who may be listening and watching now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for your podcast, you're attracting these people because that's the vibration you are operating at. Sometimes we look at our world outside and we go, oh, well, I'm not getting this sort of client. I'm not able to do this. I cannot afford this payment. And, all of that might be true. You can still act from a place of abundance. So let's say that you have a bill to pay, and I have done this when I have really struggled. Um, I wouldn't go into details, but there was a time, long time ago, when I had outstanding bills to pay and I really did not have money coming in. Still, whatever money I could do, I'd agreed that, okay, we'll do these part payments. And every time I would do the part payment, I would say, I bless you. I bless you. I bless you. It's the frequency with which you send out stuff as well. So notice your frequency for literally everything, even the stuff where you feel I can't control it. I don't like this. Because there is a difference in the way how perhaps humans judge everything. And let's say how the soul measures everything. We often hear, oh, the soul does not think something is good or bad. And body obviously feels something is good or bad. But here's the difference, right? When the soul comes in, it just thinks, okay, this is what I want to learn about. Maybe it wants to learn about love. So then it wants to actually learn about love. Like it's doing a research on love. It is doing a research on what works with love, on what doesn't work with love. So it's actually even researching heartaches. Does not make sense in the physical experience, but the soul loves that because it's an experience. But now you've got your soul that is doing this. It just wants to research. It's like, okay, how do I cover all the facets? And it's just a child playing in every sphere of that lesson without judgment. So it does not mind. And in a body, you want to not have the so called negative or the lower frequency experiences. So, how do you shift it? How do, that would point back to, okay, how does the soul then move on? So let's say heartache. How does it move on from heartache? When does the soul stop playing with heartache? When in the body, you can look at heartache and you can go, okay, fine. Like, I'm neutral to this. I've done this. It's okay. So it's just the process of getting okay. It does not mean that somebody else did something and that's okay with you. But where you go, well, this is fine. This is who I am. You can hold that neutrality in you. So if it comes back to money, when you can just tell yourself, it is okay. I am fine. I am safe. I will have money, even when you feel like you cannot have it. But when you can go into that place and go, I'm safe. I will be held because I have been held all these times. You can write that down for yourself. You can put that new story in there, then the soul just walks away from that lesson and goes, okay, fine, I've done the scarcity. Now I can actually move on to abundance. And so you train yourself by saying all those things again. And you go, okay, I bless you. This is where I have more money. You could literally look at your pantry and go, I have so many things to eat. I have so many things in my house. But instead of noticing and living in scarcity, live in abundance.
Wonderful advice, really wonderful. And as you were talking, I could feel all sorts of, like counters dropping in my head. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. That affects that. That affects that. I love the thing of when you pay out money, you say, I bless you.
Yeah.
And I thought, God, that is so easy.
Yeah, because
Well,
you have to do it anyway, right?
yeah.
Like just get over that feeling and judgment because you will work through yourself. Like it's a hard thing to say, hey, I bless you when you don't have enough money.
Yeah.
But as you say that, you're also saying that to money. You're bringing that frequency back that, oh, I bless you. I like you, money. So it's very much internal calibration. Outer calibration follows internal calibration.
Amazing. Beautiful. So if somebody would like to think about working with you, let's just remind them of your website, which is artoflifecenter.com. And center is CENTER. What's the process whereby someone can investigate possibly working with you and then possibly engage?
Oh, yeah, please reach out to me at the website. Tell me what's going on in your life. You will find a link to book a call with me there, so we can do that. Or otherwise, you can also find me on my handles. I am at Kanika Energy Coach, Kanika, Kanika Energy Coach. And you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on YouTube. And then just send me a message and we'll chat from there.
Beautiful. Thank you. And of course, people can listen to this episode again or watch this episode again, because I think quite a few of the things you've spoken about, Kanika, are things that could be reflected on multiple times. You know, you've summarized for us wisdom that you've gained over a number of years through your own investigation and your own practice. So I do feel listeners and watchers, please do give yourself the opportunity to tune into this episode again and pick up the other nuggets that are present. You know, even just by taking what you, Kanika, have said today, somebody can begin the process of
That's the
transformation
intention.
and
Yes.
liberation. So we have, as often happens, talked about quite a lot of interesting things today. It's been absolutely fascinating. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been really, I found it very refreshing listening to you. And it hasn't felt like you're saying, oh, it's going to be really hard. You've got to grow your comfort zone. You're going to suffer. It feels more like you're saying, no, there is a way. You can look at it this way. You can explore it this way. You can free yourself up and expand. And it feels light, but not light, but important at the same time. So I very much enjoy that vibration. Has there been for you a favorite part of our conversation today?
Oh, I think I've loved all of it. But I think, especially also, I loved your summation, because in that you said that I gave people the idea that business growth can be easy, it doesn't have to be hard. And I love that that's what you took away, because that is what I want to tell people in the world as well. And by the way, by easy, I don't mean that it is a bed of roses, like everything is just going to be flowery. But think of business growth more as the process of growing yourself. And isn't that the best gift you could give to yourself? So, in that, allow yourself to just grow and grow again. If I give it tangible examples, it is, if you want to be a coach or a service business provider, like just see where are the parts where you are really holding yourself back and be more visible there. Like, don't wait to get ready. Step up, take the stage, and you will get ready. But it's allowing yourself to play, allowing yourself to vibrate, operate at that higher level. Do that, and the results will follow. Allow yourself to grow.
Amazing. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kanika. This has been an absolute pleasure. And thank you, everybody watching and listening. And like I said, do go and check out Kanika's website, which is artoflifecenter.com, CENTER. And that will be in the show notes, as well as the other handles that Kanika just mentioned as well. I invite you to check out the other episodes of truthandtranscendence.com. And if you enjoyed this conversation, then you might be interested, if you are looking for a coach, in having a look at my website and seeing if you'd like a taste of my expansive coaching to see if we might be a good fit. So come and work with Kanika, come and work with me, come and work with whoever you want, but do allow yourself to grow and have a fantastic week. And Kanika, thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Catherine. It's been amazing.